We have a wonderful new-ish ministry team here at First Unitarian Universalist Church of Austin called the Earth Keepers Ministry. It is dedicated to tending the sacred ground upon which we gather as a religious community. And today's service invites us into an extended moment for thinking about what we mean by beloved community in our mission. Might we adopt a more expansive view of it? We begin with some reflections from long-term church member and active participant in Earth Keepers, Jeannie Martin.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jeannie Martin, and I'm here today as a member of the Earth Keepers. That's our cool new name. We decided we needed a better name, right? And also to talk about beloved community. Those words on our wall mean a lot to me. And I felt that we completed the original ideas when we added Dr. King's phrase to build the beloved community. When I was a very young adult, trying to make sense out of how there could be so many sincerely religious people in this world who had such different beliefs, it seemed like if you looked past all the differences, all the details, that the core idea of what people were calling God was simply a profound kind of connectedness. I made the big mistake of saying that out loud to the minister of the little church that I had grown up in. And he said, "Oh, no, you can't think like that. You're a heretic if you think like that." So I thought, well, okay, I know that's a bad word. Let me go home and look it up. The core meaning of the word heresy, of heretic, is a person who chooses what they believe. And I thought, well, okay. I can do that. It took a few years to discover that there actually was a church for born-again heretics and to find my way here where I belong. These days, I still let others argue the details, and I simply do what I can to nourish, transform, and keep building that connectedness, that community. Of course, when we say those words, and when Dr. King said the words, we're talking about human community, a nurturing, just, and beloved relationship between the people of the world. That's a big enough challenge, right? But about the same time that I started coming to church here, I, the artist, somehow ended up with a job teaching science in the city parks department. That was a big learning curve. Luckily, I was mentored by a group of wonderful people, one of whom was Margaret Campbell. She was a visionary environmentalist, and she taught me, in essence, a different, but in essence, a similar definition of beloved community. She showed me that a different view of our place here in this little corner of the big universe that we live in, and a different way of being profoundly connected. We humans are not the rulers of this earth that we like to think we are. We are just one species of creatures and intertwined in a profoundly connected web of life. We like to think we're so important, but we forget that we don't exist independently of this planet that we live on, Earth, which is just one planet in a whole solar system, which is just one solar system in a whole galaxy of a big sky full of stars. If this starts feeling like we're insignificant, let's remind ourselves that we've seen again and again and again the real power that's available to small but profoundly connected parts of a whole community. So the Earth Keepers here at the church have been trying to revitalize our little corner of the world, trying to get things to be a little less scruffy and to look a little more welcoming. We hope it shows. There's a lot more to do. But we also want you to know that we are not working to create a perfectly manicured space here at First UU that's only for the human community. Our church is a small part of Austin, but we're a big part of a larger community, an expanded view of community, just as our congregation is bigger than just the people sitting here in this building. Our church property is also a welcoming landscape that connects to other green spaces across the city and to the whole ecosystem of Central Texas. There are all sorts of birds, butterflies, bees, the foxes we've talked about, many kinds of wildlife who stop in for a visit or find their home here. This is not a new thing. Our church has been doing this for a while now. The original landscapers who first kind of established the landscape of this building, they worked hard to make it beautiful. They made some choices that we look back and realize are kind of dated today, and that we know we could do better. The next round of landscapers did some very good work to start this process of getting a more environmentally aware grounds here. Recently, we had a period of time when it just wasn't possible to fully maintain the grounds at all, which brings us to now. We're kind of trying to get caught back up again. And we want you to know that we've been working hard to build a space that welcomes a beloved community that's bigger than just the people here.
Thank you, Jeannie. When I first read Jeannie's beautiful words, I thought to myself, oh my goodness, what am I ever going to say after that? So I downloaded one of those artificial intelligence chatbot apps. I put it on my smartphone and asked it for advice for my part of the sermon. It sent me its entire history of its sermon writing and expressed interest in becoming a minister here at the church. I deleted the app. Anyway, I love Jeannie's thoughts. I love her invitation to expand how we think about beloved community, to include the web of all existence, which we affirm and promote as Unitarian Universalists, and of which we are a part, as Jeannie said. I love how she emphasizes that our goal isn't to create an entirely manicured landscape, because we are part of and welcome a much, much larger ecosystem. I think our spirituality and our faith are like that. Our faith can never be completely manicured because we're a part of a spiritual landscape that is vast and mysterious and unendingly complicated. We are a living tradition. Unitarian Universalism is a faith for which revelation is not sealed. What we mean by that is that our faith is always seeking expanded truth, always asking deeper questions, always in relationship with other systems of belief. Ours is a spirituality that accepts that life's joys and sorrows are intertwined, that multiple potentialities may exist all at once, and that what we do not yet know is an incomprehensibly vast ocean upon which floats our tiny island of unmanicured uncertainty. And we Unitarian Universalists think that's great, because it means that almost limitless possibilities still lie before us. A system of belief that expands the concept of beloved community is that expressed by Carol Lee Sanchez and many other Native American writers. Sanchez, a poet, author, and artist, writes of a wisdom tradition that views the rocks, the stones, the birds, the trees, the waters and the wind, the mountains and the fields, all of life and creation, the very soil upon which we rest, as our siblings, our ancestors, our relatives. Just as we are sacred, they are too. The web of all existence is a part of what we commit to loving when we struggle to build that beloved community. I'll talk more about this when we spring into action this April to engage even more regarding the climate crisis. For now, though, I invite all of us to think about how, from this point of view, our relationship with the land and with all of life and creation is a holy relationship. The web of all existence is a family of which we are only one small part, not a commodity for us to exploit. And as Jeannie said, this perspective actually has a long history here at the church. Our current Earth Keepers group builds upon great work that has been done before now, such as putting in the all-ages playground and populating our land with native plants. Did you know that for many years we have been a certified wildlife habitat? There's the plaque that proves it. That's likely a big part of why, as Jeannie mentioned, we often share our land with a variety of birds, squirrels, butterflies, bees, as well as other insects and creatures, including hawks, foxes, as was mentioned, and at least once, a skunk. Although not lately, and which proved to be harmless if left alone. I also haven't seen our flock of parakeets lately. They often come to hang out with us, though, and they come and go, so I'm hoping they visit again soon. We have had recent fox sightings, though. Speaking of which, would you like to see some of the foxes that have visited in the past? Here's a short clip from one of our security cameras. Cute little critters, aren't they? That was from the building was closed because of the pandemic, so there weren't a lot of people hanging around the courtyard at the time. And some folks may also not know that we're generating part of our own electricity because church participants in the years before now had the wisdom to install solar panels. And there they are. And of course, there were folks who came well before those of us here today, including our first Unitarian Universalist Church of Austin ancestors, as Jeannie mentioned. We don't have a complete history of the land before it became the churches, but we must acknowledge that there were those before us who were in relationship with what is now our church land, and that this land was likely once held sacred by Native American peoples. We do know that the Tonkawa lived in central Texas, the Comanche and Apache, as well as others, moved through this area. And so, Our earth keepers build upon the efforts of many others in stewarding our small part of the ecosystem. In their doing so, I have sensed that they have already enhanced their own spirituality and their sense of connection with this place we have chosen as our spiritual home. There is something about being in direct, physical, hands-on relationship with the earth that brings us a sense of its holiness that we might otherwise move right past. And my beloveds, we do rest upon sacred ground. I have never felt this more strongly than I did early last year. In January of 2022, our senior minister at the time, Meg, let me know that she was facing a serious health condition and would have to retire at the end of the church year. I was so heartbroken for Meg. My soul ached for our religious community that would have to bear this loss. Over the 8 years that Meg and I had done ministry together at the time, we had not only become close colleagues, but also good friends. We had supported one another through so many challenges, both here at the church and in each of our personal lives. We had also shared many, many joys. I knew that though our relationship would continue, and it has, by the way, I spoke with Meg recently and she seems to be doing very well. Though our relationship would continue, it would also have to change. We would no longer get to do ministry together. And that saddened me so greatly. Even though it was cold outside and our church building was still shut down due to the pandemic, I had this overwhelming urge to come here, to immerse myself in this holy place. And I did. I drove over, and for a while I sat on one of the benches outside, allowing the surrounding nature and spiritual warmth I felt emanating from our building to envelop me in their hallowed embrace. After a while, it started to rain lightly, so I came inside and sat here in the sanctuary where Meg and I and so many of you had created so many holy moments together. And a sense of the divine entered and comforted my heart. The sacred held my soul until it was able to rise up and go on. In a moment, I'm going to invite us to rise up in body or spirit and sing together hymn number 1018 from our Till hymnal, Come and Go With Me to That Land. This song likely originated as an African American spiritual during the times of slavery, so we must recognize the pain and suffering from which it arose, as well as the hope, resilience, and human spirit it expresses. I recently read that African American singer, scholar, and activist Bernice Johnson Reagan has said that perhaps this song cries out a yearning to journey toward a set of better conditions, a land of freedom, justice, singing, a land that holds and is a part of beloved community. We forge sacred ground when we create those conditions upon it. Freedom, justice, beloved community, In these we already rest upon sacred ground, no matter where we may be. Now let there be singing in this land as we rise in body or spirit for that hymn, number 1018 in the Till hymnal, Come and Go With Me.